Hello, I am Eucaris Mercado, and I will present my final exam to Dr. Anderson for the READ 6101 class, section number 640, fall 2023. So, considering a more comprehensive understanding of literacy development by exploring the multifaceted nature of reading and its complex cognitive and social cultural dimension, that's what Duke and Cartwright want to invite us to think about. In this article, they want us to think that there is an overlap between word recognition and language comprehension. Dr. Cartwright in the last video said readers have to coordinate, manage, and integrate these processes, but also readers' active self-regulation processes which play an important role in the reading process. There is more than what is explained in the simple view of reading. Reading is a multifaceted and complex process. And in this presentation, I will share with you some points to take into consideration in the reading process. The first one is motivation. Motivation and engagement also reflect active self-regulator. Reading as predict reading ability above and beyond word recognition and language comprehension. So here I cite three evidence. The first one is in the TPR page 225. It mentioned that researchers and educators have increasingly come to realize that knowing how to read is only half the battle. So readers also need to be motivated to seek meaning in order to read successfully. So, but what is motivation? Motivation refers to the inner drive, desire, or interest that compels individuals to engage in reading activities. People who read more and love to read tend to read better, and among that other readers predict growth in reading skill, especially in comprehension. So in the ERW, they mention a final point to note that here is that the desire to read is integrally linked with reading ability itself. So children are more motivated to read and engage it more when they are good at it. So if they know how to decode a word, they will feel motivated. So they will keep reading, and they will not feel frustrated. And in the video, Dr. Cartwright says that there is a second set of skills that is not addressed clearly in other views of reading. Those are the active self-regulation skill, like executive function and motivation strategies. So readers use this to help drive their word recognition. What she explained basically, if that active self-regulation help readers drive their word recognition and deploy their word recognition processes, drive and deploy their language comprehension processes, and they all coordinate then in the service of reading comprehension. So the other one is the role model. The role model places print concepts in language comprehension, but instead we place them referring to the active view reading in the bridging processes, because print concepts are needed not only for language comprehension but also for word recognition. Here I cite three evidence. The first one is in the TPR. So the TPR talk about the inside out strategies. So the inside out strategies, they are skills that allow a child to translate print into the set of sounds needed to identify a word, and vice versa for writing. So those bottom up, in other words, stimulus driving. So driven, sorry. Cognitive skills that are engaged in reading. These skills include the ability to use lowercase letters, to identify them and then translate them into letter sounds and blend them together to identify a word. Also, it might include children's ability to understand sentence grammar and use of sentence punctuation. So in the ERW, it is clear that fundamental insight that graphemes represent more phonemes. An alphabetic writing system does not typically come naturally to children, so it is something that most children be taught explicitly. And doing so, it is important for making further progress in reading. So print is very important for word recognition. But in order for a student to recognize the print or the word they see, it is necessary teaching children that relationship between letters and sounds is a critical step in early reading education. So it's not something that most children naturally take or get. So explicit instruction in phonics and letter sound relationship is essential to help them become proficient readers. Another quote that I want to share with you is reading fluency. So reading fluency is often associated only with decoding or word recognition. However, reading fluency actually reflects and is affected by language comprehension as well. So in the TPR, it mentioned that the role of fluency in comprehension is to support comprehension as a bottom-up data-driven process. That is by allowing readers to decode quickly, accurately, and automatically, and allowing them to carve out the text in meaningful ways with good prosody, intonation, reading with expression. So good fluency set the stage for good comprehension to occur. In the ERW said, this probably reflects the fact that a reasonable level of reading fluency is needed before children can benefit properly from text level strategy instruction. This means that educators, we have to give students instructions in reading ability. So younger or less fluent readers may receive more focused instruction on basic reading skills, while more fluent readers can be introduced to more complex comprehension. So, and Dr. Anna Tabaoda says that fluency also is a big enabler for spending time with text, which lead to that knowledge building. So she emphasizes that fluency serves as an enabler. That means in the context of reading, fluency means being able to read text smoothly and effortlessly. When a reader is fluent, they can move through text faster, naturally, paced without frequent pauses or stumbling over words. So this fluency enables reader to engage more deeply with text, with the content of the text. So vocabulary is another important um, skills in the reading process. So vocabulary knowledge is part of what enables us to know which pronunciation is correct and also to monitor whether the text with that word in it makes sense. So I cite also three evidence here. The first one with the TPR. So particular when it said that particular consonants and vowel sounds appear in many words in their vocabularies, children are able to more accurately represent or reproduce the sound. So if the student acquire already that vocabulary or that sound, they can do it faster, so they become more proficient in recognizing, producing, and even spelling words that contain those sounds perfectly. In the ERW says that low vocabulary constrains comprehension, as we discussed shortly, but low knowledge itself might be a consequence of differences in processing. For example, if the children who struggle to generate inferences are less able to use context to discover the meaning of new words. So, and this might lead to differences in vocabulary knowledge over time as children get older. So, interplay between vocabulary knowledge, reading comprehension, and the ability to make inferences while reading. It suggests that difficulties in making inferences can impact a child's ability to understand and acquire new words from context. So, and Anna Tabaoda said that teachers have the importance of conveying to parents that the more children have the opportunity to develop language vocabulary early in the early stages of their first language, which is critical for concurrent and later English development. So the most of the students have those vocabulary experience in the early stage, they will later be better readers, so they can use the vocabulary into the decode, into the comprehension skills. So, and why for me, the reading is a complex process, because as it said in the article, a third feature of the active view of reading is inclusion of active self-regulation and its placement as influencing word recognition, bringing processes and language comprehension. So in the TPR said, deep processing involves integrating text into one's personal schema through a strategy. So, but what is a schema? What is that? So it is knowledge structure that organizes and summarizes what a person knows about a specific topic. So how well a child knows a word in the ERW said influences how efficiently it is processed. And this in turn influences the demands placed on general resources such as working memory. Sorry, define word memory as a what? As a mechanism of processes involved in the control, regulation, and active maintenance of tax relevance information in the service of complex. So in Cartwright says that reading is not easy or simple, even though it feels simple to us, because we are not seeing those invisible processes, referring to the active self-regulation processes that include motivation and engagement executive. So reflection for my learning. So children need explicit fun instructions because it gives them the fundamental abilities they need to become good readers. It provides their capacity to understand text, decode words, and boosts their general reading skills. So, and also building knowledge is important through reading aloud, students' conversation and classroom experiences, and print teaching morphological skills. Wow, this is very important too. They are fundamental aspects of literacy development. When children are exposed into conversation, as individuals read and engage with text, they acquire information, concepts, and ideas that contribute to their understanding of the world and their ability to comprehend increasingly complex text. So, and also, it's very important to recognize students' dialect and home language. So they played a vital role in the reading process. So it's very important that we understand that our student has a background, our student has a different pronunciation. So when we understand that they come from different places in a different language, we can help them more. So be conscious about what they know and what they need to know, and how we can integrate their background and cultural into the reading process. Next one, reflections on my learning too. Researchers continue. A new study will come out. However, it's my job as an educator, as a literacy educator, to provide what really works for my student reading development. So another second one, oral language development is indeed a crucial factor in the reading process, and it plays, sorry, a fundamental role in a child literacy journey. So we have to persuade parents about the importance of oral language and how to start early in building it. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so glad that we conclude this course.